So we're starting today with, I have Bucky, we have someone new, and welcome Sam. And we're doing stories on not so much Tales of the Winds of Time, that's your first book out. We're doing and diving into part 2 of the 9 stages of the journey through Mictlan. So thank you and welcome Bucky, and welcome Sam.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me again, Rose.
Thank you.
Hopefully you're having a good day.
Same here, I am. How is everybody else today?
Doing pretty good. I took my buddy to work this morning. He's got a job this last week or so, and still working on getting a vehicle. So, good thing is though, I get gas out of it. So they have a little gas pump there with like farmer's gas, so I get some gas for free.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Ooh.
Gas prices are kind of crazy, so.
Yeah, they do not spark joy.
No. All right, so Bucky, you wanted to read the first one, and we're going into part 2. We did the first 5 in the previous podcast, so if you were following, you could go back and see part 1. We also had the 5-parter, which stage 5, the stages of 9, that came in the podcast previously to this one, to the one part 1, I should say. So you're able to kind of jump in and see. You can also read along as well. I think you've posted them in with the other podcasts in the Discord channels.
Not yet, Rose. I've started to copy and paste it, but I haven't pasted it yet.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to figure out which stories we've done. That's why I asked you. And then you misinterpreted my question to which one we're doing today. So I was like, well, I have to go back and watch. That she doesn't have a running list that yeah.
I think
Not to blame you.
That's
But
okay.
yeah.
They're labeled, I think, in the description boxes. I think they're labeled in them. So if not,
Yeah.
I do have it on Notepad, that the ones we've done all previously.
Yeah.
So, but I say some of it because if you're reading along, don't shoot the person or kill the person that is trying to do their best in the pronunciation of a lot of the words, because they are keeping it to source as much as possible, the source information.
Yeah. And so I think in these ones we don't have as big a words as we did the last one, so we should be okay. But I haven't really read over them again. I just read over them when I posted them to make sure that other people can read them, because with me, I don't need the pauses and all that. I just do it sort of in maybe like 2 or 3 breaths. But
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, so if you want to lead us off, like you said, and then I will
Okay.
do next.
Do I have?
Okay. This is stage 6. The 6th stage was called Teolia, the realm of the soul. Here, Xochitl's soul was purified and prepared for the next level of the afterlife. In Teolia, the realm of the soul, Xochitl found himself enveloped in a tranquil atmosphere where the air shimmered with a soft golden light. As he entered the sacred space, a sense of peace washed over him, easing the burdens of his earthly existence. The essence of Teolia was alive with gentle whispers inviting him to embrace the journey of purification and preparation that lay ahead. The first stage of his experience began with the awakening of his spirit as ethereal beings of light surrounded him, their presence both comforting and invigorating. They guided him towards a crystalline pool, its waters glistening with a brilliance that mirrored the stars. As Socho stepped into the pool, he felt the coolness envelop him, each ripple washing over him like a loving caress, cleansing his soul of past sorrows and regrets. With each drop of water, Socho experienced a release, allowing his memories to surface. Joyful moments dance alongside painful ones, each memory a thread in the tapestry of his existence. The beginnings of light sing, the beings of light sing softly, their harmonious voices echoing around him, encouraging him to embrace each memory, to learn and grow from them. As he let go of his fears and doubts, the water transformed into a radiant glow, illuminating his spirit and filling him with a sense of renewal. Once purified, Xochitl felt a profound connection to the universe, as if every heartbeat resonated with the rhythm of existence. The next phase of his preparation involved a sacred ritual at an altar adorned with vibrant flowers and shimmering crystals, symbolizing the beauty that comes from transformation. Here he placed his offerings, every lesson learned, every ounce of love shared, encouraging the depth of his journey. He stood before the altar, a vision unfolded before him, revealing the next level of the afterlife, a realm of unity and boundless joy, boundless love, where souls gathered in harmony. With a heart full of anticipation and gratitude, Socha felt ready to take that leap into the unknown. The beings of light encircled him, their energy intertwining with his, guiding him toward the threshold of his new existence. As he stepped forward, the golden light enveloped him, illuminating his path and welcoming him into the embrace of eternity.
Kind of a cleansing ritual to see with but also like the air of forgetfulness. I could see that he was remembering, but then it just kind of like integrating back into source.
Yeah. And then you'll get the why that was so important in the last. That's why I want you to read stage 9, is
Okay.
because you really get that. I tried to bring you the whole aspect of what he experiences once he gets done with his basically cleansing his essence.
It's an interesting perspective on death even. Like I'm not sure how many people have had a near death experience, but it almost is like this kind of like everything that was in your 3D is an echo on the outside and it just fades away to again to this essence. You kind of are in this floaty space. Um, only speaking from reading other people who've had near death experience, like having gone through and seeing their memory and living that memory, but also potentially going through a few of them myself. So,
Yeah.
um, Sam, what is your take on that small little snippet there of that story, that stage 5 or stage 6?
So it sounds like it said it's an indigenous type of story, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like, again, I do a lot of meditation type of things as well. So the term source I'm definitely very familiar with, and yeah, it sounds definitely like I've had what you could maybe say. I don't know if you call them quite near death experiences, but like sometimes here and there where like okay, I did fall asleep driving one time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
where thankfully nothing at all happened, but it could have been again something very bad. And that sounds just like yeah, like you said, kind of reintegrating, just taking the step back. But like with the many layers of it, it's very very interesting. That I don't know. I've it's I'm not super familiar with a lot of like indigenous things as much as I should be. Um,
That's okay. I mean, that's so a lot of the stories, the way that they're being told is kind of surrounding a lot of like even other mythologies. You're talking Egyptian mythology. We have a Book of the Dead. You have this one would be the Aztec Underworld. Um, but like you just
I,
said, you had an experience. So
Yeah, and so like it's not like my life, and it definitely wasn't like oh I felt like I was that in danger, but it's something that could have went very wrong. But it's like okay, so as dumb as it sounds, I was like I again have a decent, just I guess, mental capacity for like waking myself up without alarms and things like that. So I was like, I told myself, okay, you're very tired. You should probably just pull over. But if you do fall asleep, you need to wake the fuck up because you're going 70 miles an hour. And yeah, I like closed my eyes for just a second. I was going down the road at 70 miles an hour. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute, I'm still fucking moving. Wake the fuck up, you idiot. So then I did a maneuver I've like never done before. I just like snapped back to, was fully awake, did a perfect like 180 fucking like movie set of some kind of like stunt movie kind of shit that I've never practiced for ever in my life. And just like kind of flipped around and got on the shoulder of the road. I was like, hey, okay, let's never do that again.
So an interesting perspective you're talking about, again, so as we're talking about the death scene, you're talking about what I would term as, in a way, jumping a timeline. So death isn't what people perceive it to be. It is, as Bucky said, it's an essence. You're still an
And
essence. So jumping
that's
one timeline from where you would have died to somewhere where you're not died, you're still here, you're still conscious, you're still aware.
Yeah, like in some reality, perhaps, yeah, there could have been one, if you really, of course, in the multiverse thing, there could have been one scenario potentially where, yeah, I did not, in theory, get my shit together. Um, but definitely, at least in this one, I was just like, okay, this is not a good thing. You need to wake up. And I did very quickly. I was like, okay. But yeah, the multiple layers thing, that's like thinking about, like, there are, yeah, many places or many mythologies that have the multiple layers into the underworld, or like you're saying, like Egyptian, the Mayans, yeah, they all have like, even, or even like Dante's Inferno with the 7 layers and stuff like that.
That's where the numerology, and I was going to say, is comes in really good. He's got 5 stages, but he also has stage 9, and which is also synonymous even in mythology with Odin hanging himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days. So even those numbers 0 through 9, you're talking about layers of awakeness, awareness, perception, even layers of what we call ascension. People keep thinking we're going up. It's actually expanding outwards. You're expanding your awareness outwards to be more aware of things instead of being more in fear of them. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I wrote that next word is it's Quinlan. Okay.
I was looking at that. So, okay, so I'm going to read stage 7, and we'll go from there and see what we glean from that. So the seventh level is called Itzkutlan. I have been pronouncing that right. So the realm of the god Xochitl, who is known as the guardian of the sunset. This level was the place of darkness and shadows, but Xochitl Soul was not afraid. We have a lot of X words, excuse me. He knew that he was getting closer to his final destination. So Xochitl's journey through Itzkutlan, the 7th layer of the underworld, was a profound and transformative experience. As he stepped into the realm ruled by Xochitl, the guardian of the sunset, he found himself enveloped in a thick shroud of darkness. This ever-present shadows danced around him, whispering secrets of the past and echoing the stories of souls who had ventured through the somber plain before him. The air was heavy, laden with the weight of unfulfilled dreams and lost hopes. Yet Xochitl's heart remained resolute and unyielding. At first the darkness felt daunting, almost suffocating, yet Xochitl drew strength from his inner light. He understood that Itzkutlan was a place where fears were confronted and shadows were faced head on. Each step he took reverberated through the silence, a reminder of his determination to navigate this realm and find his way to the other side. The shadows, which initially seemed menacing, began to reveal glimpses of memories, a flicker of laughter, a flash of joy, the warmth of love once shared. Xochitl's learned to embrace these fleeting images. They were not just remnants of the past, but also guides illuminating his path forward. As he journeyed deeper into Itzkutlan, he encountered manifestations of his own fears, doubt, regret, and sorrow. These dark figures loomed large, attempting to dissuade him from continuing. Yet Xochitl remembered the teachings of the ancients: to confront one's fears is to render them powerless. With each confrontation, he felt a sense of liberation, as if the shadows were shedding their hold over him. The darkness transformed into a canvas upon which he painted his resolve, each stroke a declaration of his courage. In the heart of Itzkutlan, Xochitl finally came upon an ethereal landscape, a place where the shadows coalesced into forms reminiscent of the past. Here he encountered Xochitl, the guardian of the sunset, who embodied both the fierce protector and the gentle guide. Xochitl's presence exuded an aura of understanding and compassion, a reminder that even in darkness there is a path to light. The god spoke in a voice that resonated like a distant echo, urging Xochitl to embrace his journey fully, for it was through the shadows of that one could appreciate the brilliance of the dawn. With newfound clarity, Xochitl understood that Itzcuintlan was not merely a passage of despair, but a necessary step toward enlightenment. He had traversed the shadows, faced his fears, and emerged stronger and more aware. As he prepared to leave this realm, the darkness began to dissipate, giving way to a soft glow on the horizon, the promise of a new dawn. Xochitl realized that journey through Itzcuintlan had not only been a test of his spirit, but also a celebration of resilience, marking the transition from shadows to light, from fear to hope. With the guardian's blessing, he stepped forward into the next phase of his journey, ready to embrace whatever awaited him beyond the veil of darkness. I find the concepts again interesting that the shadow is representative of fears and doubts.
Well, they say that you can't have the ability to overcome fear unless you're able to see beyond what it actually means to be fearful.
The experience of self-healing would be to introspect. Um, it's funny because one of the lines that come in is the Dune Litany, which is to go through your fears. You face it, and the only thing that you come out of this with is yourself. So kind of walking through its path, finding out where it came from, why is it there, what's the reason for the irrationality of feeling that particular emotion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not very helpful. Oh, sorry, no, I'm doing a delivery right now. I'm just like, it says, item location not available. I'm like, huh?
And yet probably relevant. Look, its location's not available. It doesn't exist in this realm.
Like, honestly, like, if you don't know, how am I supposed to know?
So,
A good
token.
would that not be a good again, most people fear the unknown. So there you go with the fears and
Yeah,
your
no,
doubts. You don't know, and then what do? Some people
yeah,
are
exactly. I'm like,
the
my usual thing is go ask the person at Walmart. Because, but yeah, and thing is, it's not always the solution. But in this case, I'm like, well, yeah, most people exactly. They just really fear things, and even if it's something very simple, it could just be even like a food you've never had before, kind of thing.
true. And how much of it then snowballs into an aversion, into anger for it, being presented for it, instead of like we're saying, like Xochitl kind of just he just goes right through it. How else do you get to a new light, new dawn if you stay trapped in the shadows of your own doubts and fears on the own unknown?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you really just have to go straight through it. Yeah, you can't just be like, oh, like say, or like the fear of the dark. Like say, that's what I was talking to someone about it. Again, you turn off the lights in a room, and it's like, well, just because you don't see anything, nothing has changed. Like everything is still the same as it was before. There's not any light in the room, but nothing else has changed. It's not like nothing is spooky about the dark just because you can't see in there. Like, yeah, it's very obviously people like to see, but it's not anything to be afraid of.
Yeah, I think fear of the dark is probably a big one for a few people, and it's mostly because it's fear of what's the lack thereof that we can see in the dark, instead of knowing that again it's a fear of the unknown. We don't know, so therefore you fear it, and it may be in human nature that it was something probably taught. How much of things that you're taught as a child, because you don't know pain until you're exposed to it. You don't know the darkness until you're in it. You don't know even cold water if you're always in hot. So it's something
Right.
new can be very uncomfortable for people.
Well, I don't know, Rose. I wouldn't want to go outside at night where I live, so.
I don't think I would hit where you live either. All kinds of crazy stuff
I
over there.
mean, Yeah, so yeah, there are sometimes I will say it is a valid fear at times.
Fear can be a good, it's a
Oh.
good teacher because again, you don't do with the right amount, and I say fear, but it's more of this, okay, we
Well,
understand we're not
caution.
right. We're not going to go jump off the
Yeah.
cliff. We know that that's dangerous, and yet we're not quite, maybe not quite afraid of the height. It's just the fact that we're not going to be stupid enough to go jump off the cliff.
Yeah, it's just yeah, you know that unless you got a bungee cord, and even then, it's just like, this is pain in the butthole.
I'm sure you'll find your destination, or at least the information for it soon.
I know it doesn't really help. I'm guessing in the garden center. I kind of looked around there. And maybe in the front or something. The sweet basil.
Probably in the garden section.
Yeah, I've been kind of scrolling around there.
If you're at Walmart, you could just look on the Walmart app and it'll show you.
Okay, I thought so. It's like the flowers. Okay, yeah. Alrighty, and I also have some potty mix. It says YY3. Is that on some of the outside too? Okay. Oh yeah, and the little things. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Awesome. Thank you.
And I know Vicky went and did that one time, and they have barcodes that like register.
You think that we should really be recording this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're having fun with it anyway.
Grab it away out. Awesome. I will definitely do that. Thank you.
You have the next one to read.
Yeah. Cool. I'm looking up pronunciations, okay, while you guys are going back and forth about trying to find stuff. Costocan and Coaticu.
At least it's not lost in the shadows in the dark. We can ask somebody here. Here's your guide.
Here's your guide,
Right.
sir.
Here's your guide, sir.
So are you ready to start stage 8 then?
Yes.
Okay. The 8th level was called Kostaken. Kostaken. And the realm of the goddess Koatiku. 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 Who is known as the mother of the gods. Here Xochitl's soul was given a final test to prove his worthiness for the 9th and final level. Xochitl's journey through Kostakan, the 8th level of the afterlife, was one steeped in divine mystery and challenge. As he entered this realm, the air was thick with the fragrance of blooming flowers, a stark contrast to the trials he would soon face. The vibrant colors of the landscape were alive with the energy of the goddess Coatchique, the revered mother of the gods who resided over this sacred domain. The moment Xochitl set foot in Kostakan, he felt the weight of the goddess's presence enveloping him. The terrain was a tapestry of lush gardens, sacred temples adorned with intricate carvings, and flowing rivers that shimmered under the celestial light. Each step he took resonated with the whispers of spirits who had come before him, each one a testament to the trials they had faced in pursuit of divine approval. As Xochitl ventured deeper into Kostakan, these spirits greeted him with reverence and shared tales of their own journeys, each filled with trials that tested their character and resolve. Inspired by their stories, Xochitl steeled himself for the final test that would determine his worthiness for the 9th and ultimate level. The test manifested in the form of a labyrinthine garden, each turn presenting a new challenge that mirrored the struggles he had faced in life. The first challenge required him to confront his greatest fear, embodied by shadowy figures that emerged from the depths of his consciousness. With each confrontation, he summoned courage, recalling the lessons learned from his past. The shadows dissolved The shadows dissolved as he embraced his vulnerabilities, revealing the strength that lay within. Next, Xochitl was presented with a choice: to take a path adorned with riches and comforts, or one lined with thorns and trials. Remembering the values instilled by the goddess uh, Coatitilque, Coatitilque, he chose the thorny path, understanding that true worthiness lay in selflessness and resilience. Selflessness and resilience. As he navigated through the obstacles, he encountered others in need, souls that had lost their way. In helping them, he found a renewed sense of purpose, embodying the compassion that um, Coatq represented. Finally, he reached the heart of Costacan, a revered grove where the goddess herself awaited. Um, Co- Coatq emerged, her presence both formidable and nurturing, as she surveyed Xochitl with piercing eyes that seemed to see within the very essence of his soul. She spoke of the trials he had faced, admiring that it was not merely his successes that defined him, but his courage in the face of adversity and his willingness to help others along their journeys. With her blessing, Xochitl felt a surge of energies coursing through him, marking the end of his trials in Kostokan. He had proven his worthiness not only through grand accomplishments, but through humility, compassion, and resilience. As he prepared to ascend to the ninth and final level, he carried with him the lessons learned and the spirit of Coatq. Ready to embrace whatever awaited him in the realms beyond, the journey through Kostakan had transformed him, forging a connection to the divine that would guide him into the eternal quest for enlightenment. In the eternal quest for enlightenment.
So, an interesting way of choosing a path that probably looks like more pain instead of a more pleasurable path, but also that he was able to navigate, and as he was helping people along the way, um, it taught him more about compassion. And as you said, compassion that the goddess Coatlicue kind of represents. So as the unconditional love of a mother.
Yeah.
Probably if you're looking at it even as chakra moment, heart chakra opening, right? Eternal quest for enlightenment. So you're talking about how the heart opens up that here's a being that's in the underworld. Potentially he's not gonna die. He could get trapped in that little section of thorny bushes and thorny roads. But he's able to drive into it knowing that again he's got this willpower around him, or
Mhm.
at least this backing underneath him, this resilience, this fire that's already in him. And he's
Only you can.
anyway, oh, the next one. So he's kind of I know you're reading I'm gonna have to read it anyway. So he's kind of going through and opening up that heart chakra to see that, and it was something I had said recently in my journey here, is that knowing that you go through these near death experiences or jumping timelines or whatnot, or have the knowledge of doing this, what is it, the skin off my back to go and stop and help somebody, right? Um,
Yeah.
they want to be helped. They are seeking. They're lost, and they want to know where the path is. So if they come to you and they ask, why not help them? What skin is it off of me
Yeah.
to be compassionate enough and show that to them, that hey, okay, you're not alone, we're here, we can go together, or we can show the light together. So even in the afterlife, or at least the journey through, which could also represent an actual soul's path life, you're able to see that there's still an opening for compassion to understand other essences, other souls around you.
Yeah. Oh, the best translation that I got for that is Yomi Yoken.
Yomi Yoken. Oh, for the
Okay.
next one. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll look up that other one. Hey, I'm just trying to help you out, okay?
Thank you.
Don't be laughing at me. I could just be like, well, Rose, you're on your own.
Normally, that's sometimes how it goes. Sometimes. What did you think, Sam, of the story of Mother, basically, Mother of Gods, Mother Earth, Mother of Compassion, basically, on his trip in that little section? It might be a little busy.
Sam is in the soul. Omi Chioto.
Sam may be a little busy. That's okay.
Omi Chio. Omi Chioto. Okay.
Omi Tioto. Okay.
And then the other one was,
Omi Okan.
yeah, Omi Yoken.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
I'll do the best not to butcher this one on stage 9. And then
But I think you're really gonna like this one
I want to.
because this is like the longest one that I did because I wanted you to really be able to experience what he experienced.
I so okay, so before I continue with this one, I do like again, so you went through the shadow part, the aspect of doubts and fears and hopes that was previously to 8, which was 7. And 8 showed that even through those experiences, those fears, the darkness, the shadow part, that you still can have this compassion, this light to continue forward.
Yeah.
So again, you're seeing a soul growth. So I want to wait
Yeah.
to this last one, but I also like to see how the last story you've picked would. And I'm going to ask before I read it. Is that is it a traditional way that Indigenous people would kind of go through funeral rites of a soul, or in essence?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it tells about uh basically creator bringing all the people together, like various tribes and all that, bringing the essences together underneath the great tree and telling them the significance of the burial rites. As because I think I only picked like 3 or 4 of like the main ones of what everybody does, like most of the tribes do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's sort of after I did these ones, I was like, well, I'll look up that, and then I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. So I did a bit of research, and then I gave you that one to sort of be like, well, that's only 9, and she says we need 10, we need 5 for an episode. So
I'd like to see how that fits, and also, like I said, you're seeing it. We see the story as it goes and unfolds, and a lot of the mythologies, and how a lot of it's even preserved, and even just the things we have today. Even like our own calendar system today is based off of things that were kind of Frankenstein together to
yeah,
create something in which man can, or humanity can, keep time in, right? Which is still illusion.
yeah.
But again, you carry traditions with you, so how is it? I want to see the really good threads to thread these together.
Don't worry, Rose. It all fits together.
Okay, so I'll do the best to with these 2 words. All right, these 2 names. So the 9th stage, stage 9. The 9th and final stage was called Omioken, the realm of the supreme god Omitioto. This level was a place of pure bliss and happiness, where Xochitl's soul was reunited with the divine essence from which he had originally been created. As Xochitl entered Omioken, a sense of overwhelming peace enveloped him, a gentle embrace that felt both foreign and familiar. The realm was bathed in light, a radiant glow that seemed to emanate from every corner, illuminating the vibrant colors of the landscape. Here the air was thick with the fragrance of blooming flowers, their petals shimmered like jewels under the divine sun. It was a place where time ceased to exist, where the burdens of earthly realm faded away, leaving only a profound sense of belonging and serenity. In this sacred space, Xochitl felt the pull of his own essence, a magnetic force drawing him toward a central point where the presence of Ometeotl, the supreme god, radiated an all-encompassing love. As he moved closer, every step felt lighter, as if the very ground beneath him was celebrating his return. He could hear the whispers of the cosmos, a harmonious melody that resonated within his soul, reminding him of his origins, of the divine spark that had once ignited his being. With each heartbeat, Xochitl's spirit began to dissolve in the fabric of Omioken. It was as though the boundaries that had separated him from the divine were melting away, revealing the truth of his existence. He was not merely an individual, he was part of a greater whole, a tapestry woven from the threads of creation itself. As he stood before Ometeotl, he felt the warmth of the god's gaze, and a loving acknowledgement that transcended words. It was a recognition of his journey, of every trial he had faced in the mortal realm, and the celebration of the lessons learned along the way. In this moment of reunion, Xochitl experienced an overwhelming flood of emotions, joy, love, and an indescribable sense of fulfillment. The divine essence that was once part of him flowed back into his being, invigorating his soul with a brilliance that felt like the sun breaking through the clouds after a storm. He was home, and not just in the physical sense, but in the spiritual awakening that illuminated the very core of his identity. The bliss of Omioken filled him with the profound understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, of the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. As he embraced this divine essence, Xochitl found himself surrounded by ethereal beings, spirits of those who had traversed the same path and now danced in the joy of their reunion with the supreme god. Together they celebrated the cyclical nature of existence, a joyful acknowledgement of their shared journey through the realms of life. In Omioken, Xochitl was not merely an individual soul, he became part of the collective consciousness, a harmonious symphony of light and love that echoed through the infinite expanse of creation. In this sacred realm, Xochitl understood that bliss was not a destination but a state of being, a realization that every soul is a fragment of the divine, eternally bound to its source. As he basked in the glory of Omioken, he knew that he would carry this profound connection within him, a beacon of light guiding him through all future journeys, reminding him of the beauty that existed in every heartbeat and the divine essence that flows through every living thing. Xochitl's soul had completed its journey through the 9 levels of the Aztec afterlife, and he was at peace. He knew that he had lived a good life and that his soul will now rest in eternal happiness. I do like that one.
I tried to give you a bit more detail, so I used a lot more big words to describe it, like give you more of a picture
Mhm.
of what Omioken was actually about.
It's funny, okay, we
But
still see Om, which is the
yeah,
Om as meditation, which is the point of, again, peace, bliss, but being one with the all while still experiencing it in an individual essence of our perception right now.
yeah. But I really like how that one turned out. That was brilliant.
How about you, Sam?
You
I
could,
know he's still muted. He may be a little busy.
yeah.
Okay. So, um, so with this particular one, again, it's more of a like I said, it's a resonance. It's not a destination as much as it is a state of being,
Yeah.
which people can embody here even while they're alive. An afterlife is something that is the continuation of an essence, and basically I've noticed that the stages are basically reflections of self, reflections of the person, because once you kind of lose the material world, or if you're, again, you're posed with you closing your eyes, you're posed with what's the inner eye, you're posed with the inner essence. And so the materiality of the world doesn't come things that are identities. Now you're looking at the emotions and the concepts and the consciousness that is the being to understand ourselves instead of people look at the outside for validation as opposed to looking to inside now.
Yeah. And also, it said that at the very end, I don't know if you caught it, it said that he would continue to carry what he learned through his journey. It wasn't like his journey was done.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how most people think of death as the end of your thread here in existence, when really we talked about how even though your thread here in the physical may be done, your thread in the overall your overall essence goes back into the collective consciousness, like it said at the very end too.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not just that just doesn't come to an end. You're still impacting and influencing parts of other people's essence.
Yeah, because there's still echoes of our timeline being played out. From what I understand from some of the readings that I do, a lot of the readings, is that all time's playing out now. So every potential possibility, every part fractal, every thing that we've touched, every concept that we've been through, every emotion is playing out somewhere. You're able to access and integrate them while still they're playing out in another timeline with other people interacting with other souls, other fragments. So our journey's not really ever done. We do get the ability to become self-aware, which allows us to now navigate through these different layers of perspectives or iterations or fractals of ourselves.
Yeah.
I like that in your story. I do love that last one. It is kind of good. I like the whole Om is still in there. It's still important. One of the oldest things that people even meditate to. So you use Om a lot, right? So you're going back home.
See, I thought you would like that too.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so should we read the celebration of life then?
Yes. And hopefully Sam
Okay.
can join in. I think he's kind of busy at the moment. So, all
Yeah.
right. Go ahead.
Okay, this is a celebration of life. In the vast expanse of the sky where the stars shimmered like the eyes of ancestors watching over the earth, the Creator gathered the people beneath the great tree of life. Its branches stretched wide, sheltering all whom sought wisdom and solace. The gentle rustling of leaves whispered secrets of the past, and the air was thick with the scent of earth and life. My beloved children, the Creator began, voice resonating like the soft call of the wild. Today, I wish to share with you the sacred ways of honoring those who have journeyed beyond this realm. For in each burial there lies a story, a connection to the earth and the spirits who dwell within. The Creator gestured toward the distant hills where the sun dipped low, casting golden light upon the land. In your traditions, you have chosen places of rest that respect the earth's embrace. From caves nestled in the mountains to the sturdy trees that have witnessed countless seasons, each site is a testament to the love you hold for your departed. You have learned to honor them with care, wrapping their bodies in blankets woven with memories and draping them in shawls that speak of warmth and protection. As the Creator spoke, the people listened intently, their hearts swelling with understanding. You leave behind not just a body, but part of your spirit. Personal effects, tokens of a life lived, are placed alongside the departed, gifts for their journey in the spirit world. Food and water are offered, sustenance for their travels, for you understand that the bond between the living and the dead is eternal. The great tree swayed gently as if nodding in agreement. Mourning is a sacred art is a sacred act, a time for reflection and remembrance. For 2 to 4 days you honor the body, washing it with love and dressing it with the finest garments. In your grief you may cut your hair or blacken your faces, a visible expression of your sorrow. These acts are not signs of weakness, but powerful affirmations of the bond you share. The Creator paused, allowing the weight of these words to settle in the hearts of the people. And as you sing songs harmonizing with the very essence of existence, you weave a tapestry of love that transcends time. Each note a prayer, each lyric a wish for peace. Your voices carry the essence of the departed to the heavens, reminding the spirits that they are never forgotten. The people gazed at one another, their eyes shimmering with understanding as the Creator continued. In your traditions, you place symbolic items at grave sites, offering not just memories, but connections to the earth and the spirit world. You honor their presence by erecting small houses over their graves, shelters of love and remembrance where the wind can whisper their names. With a gentle smile, the Creator concluded, remember, my children, that every burial practice is a celebration of life, an acknowledgement of the journey that each soul undertakes. It is a reminder that though the physical form may fade, the spirit remains intertwined with the fabric of the earth. Carry these teachings in your hearts, for they are the roots that connect you to your ancestors and the earth beneath your feet. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting hues of orange and purple across the sky, the people felt a renewed sense of unity and purpose. Under the great tree of life, they understood that their traditions were not merely rituals, but sacred threads in the tapestry of existence, binding the living and the departed in a dance of eternal love.
So there's a lot of connections I see. Again, so we're seeing what the lived ones do with the soul as the soul is departing. But there's a lot of connections into traditions that are practiced again with food offering and such that I see in um, a lot of different religions, a lot of different funeral rites of other religions as well, or other myths even. Um, the Egyptian mythology, they would leave food. Sometimes even their servants would be buried with them in the tomb. Ancient Vikings, they would actually take one of the whether it be consorts, and she would be, while alive, still offered and sacrificed into the tomb or grave with Viking King as well. So there's a lot of different ways that we see that it's to honor the dead because they still think that the dead is still living. Again, there's a connection between the soul that's departed and what's here in the 3D.
Yeah,
Some of the even the Western wakes stuff, because again, you have a wake because sometimes the people were not always dead. That's why they had little bells on the graves. So way back when, because sometimes people were buried alive and they had a little bell up there because they accidentally did not know that that soul did depart. Different strange
yeah.
traditions we have.
One of the unique ones that is mentioned in the story and that I found, and that's why I included it, was building the little house on putting it on the grave. That was also like interesting, but it was also like kind of cool because going into that much effort to do that, like you know,
Yeah. And well, again, as we go through it, sometimes people didn't have enough to go build a. Are you talking an actual house or like one of the like
yeah,
temple houses?
it's a little tiny like model house
Okay, so
that
there
you
are
put,
traditions
yeah.
that do that. Yeah, like I know a lot
Okay.
of a what?
Oh, sorry guys, I was had another call,
That's okay.
but I've been listening the whole time.
Yeah, there's other. We were just talking about the other traditions about when a soul departs, like what kind of funeral rites and other traditions that are in other cultures and whatnot. And some people, I guess, I know in one of the Buddhist ones, and I know it's in the Philippines, they put a little house there, a little temple house where the grave is, or sometimes ashes are, because they think that the spirit is still alive and dwelling in those places.
Oh, in those little places, yeah, that's really cute. Honestly, like that's such a sweet thing to think. Like whether there's anything, of course, who's to say, but just the idea of it, I think, is still cute. But yeah, so my friend's court went quite well.
Awesome. So we kind
So
of brought all
do
these
you
together with the last the celebration of life one, which is to be more of creators and traditional tribes or indigenous tribes would kind of like go through with what they're doing, like putting food offerings out and whatnot. I don't know if we've talked about what we would do in the next series or the next
know,
episode. Okay.
because you said that we were going to focus on finishing this one and then talk about the next one next time. This time, like near the end.
Yes, we left it open. And as I said before in the beginning of this, we could even have more branches here because we are under the great tree. Um, to do story time, we can throw some stories in. We also can, if there's any other subjects we want to speak, Sam, you're here if you'd like to speak on any other subjects, whether that be technology, science, or anything else that we have going on. We can start a branch. We can see where things tie in because Bucky writes stories on the fly. He can spin
I
one
like
up in a
that.
few minutes and relate it to
Yeah.
something.
Very cool.
So
Or
if
just find something.
yep, if you have a suggestion for another episode for podcast or subject you want to talk on, you're more than happy to let us know. Drop it into
Okay.
Discord or anywhere you'd like.
Definitely.
Anything.
So things that does kind of remind me again of with again it's in many mythologies, but it reminds me a lot of the Emerald Tablets.
I'm familiar with those.
I'm still working my way through them, but just like the little bit that I've heard of them, it's just like every time I listen to that shit, it gives me chills. It's just like I can just imagine it so like vividly, like I'm basically there. Like my mind, I just like see all these things, I like put myself there.
it's a unique ability you have because it's some of which some people have gotten an Akashic library, but as I do readings, I do paint people's soul through their music playlists. So I don't.
That's another thing I find so interesting. Yeah, the Akashic records, because I swear I cannot tell you how many times that I definitely know that I've been on this earth before. Like I could just feel like I've definitely been here before, and I feel like I was definitely at some point either like probably a king or a pharaoh or some kind of leader of like a nation. Like I just feel such a strong sense of responsibility for everything going on in the world today, and that I feel like that literally I could just do such a much better job, which is not a high bar. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I just feel like such a sense of responsibility. Like, man, if only I was in charge, the world would be a utopia.
I think a lot of us
Because
feel like that because some of the it depends on how much of the era of again human. I go back to human compassion. One of the few things that people go with is being a steward here, and if you think that everything out here is your own home, why would I trash my own home? Why would I trash the people in my own home? Why would I, it's just kind of right.
exactly, yeah, it's like you gotta take care of your home. Like the whole world is our home, and I love the planet. Captain Planet was like one of my favorite shows growing up. Like
Yep.
that's just always been a thing for me. It's just I've always cared so much about like the pollution and just all the dumb things that we do to our planet.
We leave it to like
And
you're here to like I give it an example is that you're here having a party. You have people that come in and they're respectful. They're still having fun at the party. They're still engaging, doing some creative stuff, playing games. And then you have the people that come to the party and they totally trash the place. They like set it on fire like a rave and
yeah,
kind of riot. And you're like, but this is the house you're in at the party. Why would you do that? Sometimes.
why would you do that? Absolutely, yeah. I've had some delinquent friends that like in several years past. Again, they just took advantage, complete advantage of this sweet old lady that was a landlord. Yeah, again, they would just trash all their houses because it's not theirs. I'm like, well, so what? Treat it like it is yours. Like just because you paid a $400 deposit, do you really think that it's okay for you to just go punch a bunch of holes in the wall and act like an actual goddamn caveman? Like
So it's
just because you're not the one that has to take care of it, like that's so wrong.
so as we
That's
have
just so dumb.
you have unconditional love.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
almost this unconditional responsibility. Again, it's this stewardship. It's this okay. We're we love all these things, so we're going to be a little more responsible with it because we don't want to see them destroyed for even somebody else to experience. The same thing happens for whether you believe in the they can be proven. We've gone through it. This is a highly advanced simulated, kind of like a holographic reality matrix based on your thoughts and emotions. I would rather preserve the fact that somebody can at least experience grass. So even just that, let's say that metaphor, an example of it is, why would I destroy that? That is something that's a living, breathing source,
Yeah,
fractal,
like
like it's experience.
yeah, exactly. I don't even like cutting the grass. Like genuinely, I don't even like cutting grass because I know it's alive.
Yep. So
And I mean, I know we need to maintain things, quote, quote, but it's like also, if we just had moss everywhere in our yards, we could just have that, which I've heard actually produces more oxygen, and it doesn't grow beyond a certain point. So it's like all this grass doesn't really do all that much, and it takes so much water to maintain it.
yep. So like I said, as we go forward, we can open up more of these concepts. There are more people that there's other groups that we're in as well that again we're aligned with. Even Bucky, we just joined another group that I know the people from, majority of them, that are about bringing in what we're seeing is the hourglass flipping, the shift in the paradigm, a thought frame from something that is more less, we're into less survival mode and more into this caretaker mode, into this, let's bring in the creativity, let's start exploring without being coming from the place of fear. So there's a lot of that going forward, and we can actually do a podcast where we explore a lot of these other subjects, or even with a lot more other people. Other people are like-minded, and there's a lot of ways to connect. So thank you, Sam, for bringing in a really different, eclectic point of view and perspective. Love it. Thank you, Bucky, for
Thank
allowing
you.
us to read and allowing me to
Thank
read
you for
also.
having me.
Thank you. So I will end this one, and we will figure out what we want to do in the next one. And if anybody would like to join, I'll put all the information to reach the Discord. I'll put it in for Becky's book, or any other way that you want to reach out to connect into the various other communities that we are, communities of thought, creativity, and bringing your perspectives in your path that you've gone through in your journey so far. And we can, like I said, you can come in and maybe even talk after the podcast, other people, if you're interested. So join the Discord, and it will
Sure.
be out there. All right. Thank you.